This book is being read with permission from Scholastic. A 500-pound feline. We got right down to work. Trap listed all of the new info he had received from Simpleton Smallpaw. 1. New cat scratches had been found on the cheese pop vending machine at Scurry Hill Station. 2. Crime rat experts had examined the scratches. They concluded the cuts had been made by a 20-foot-tall cat who weighed more than 500 pounds. 3. At Cheese Rind Station, they found tufts of fur and a 10-foot-long cat whisker. 4. The catology expert from the Museum of Rodent History said the mysterious dark gray feline could be a gigantic specimen of colossal catatus. 5. A feline psychology professor was working on a top-secret trap for the subway cat. It involved a gigantic cage and 400 boxes of kitty crunchies. 4 super spicy pizzas. When Trap finished, Thea grabbed the phone. She dialed the number for Rat's Authority, the best store in town for sporting goods. Yes, I'll need 4 wetsuits, 4 pairs of rubber boots, 4 flashlights, she ordered. The list went on, and I sighed. I had a feeling this expedition was going to cost me more than a 5-course meal at the Squeakery, my favorite French restaurant. Trap used the phone next. He called the pizza place across from my office. Hello, send me 4 super spicy, super cheesy, super large, super expensive pizzas with everything on them, right away. I groaned. Oh, did he have to add expensive? Even pizza can get pricey in a place like New Mouse City. He was about to hang up when he shouted one last order. One more thing, he added. Make my cousin's pizza extra super spicy. He needs to strengthen his stomach. I started to protest. Eating spicy food could kill me. I'm not kidding. One time I accidentally ate a burrito at Hot Fur's Mexican Cantina. My stomach was messed up for months. I was still thinking about Hot Fur's when Thea grabbed my paw. You're coming with us, Geronimo, aren't you? She asked. I didn't say a word. There was no way that I was going into the subway's dark, spooky tunnels. Plus, I didn't want to come snout to snout with a gigantic cat. Well, actually, I feel like I might be getting a cold, I explained. Just then, Trap piped up. My good friend Whiskers Malone told me that Sally Ratmousin is following the same hot trail. You wouldn't want her to beat us to the scoop, would you? He announced. Rats. Just hearing Sally's name made my tail twitch. As terrified as I was about encountering the phantom cat, I knew I had to do it. I couldn't let that rotten Sally Ratmousin beat me at my own game. The Rodents Gazette had to get the story before the Daily Rat did. I'm in, I declared. I just hoped I wasn't in for trouble. Eat, drink, and be squeaky. Moments later, the doorbell rang. It was the pizza delivery. Trap ate his pizza in one gulp. Ooh. He ate half of mine, too. Just looking at it gave me heartburn. Thea put film in her camera and stuffed it into her backpack. Trap stuffed his pack with food. Eat, drink, and be squeaky, he chuckled. The doorbell rang again. This time it was the delivery from Rat's Authority. With a sigh, I put on my wetsuit and rubber boots. I pulled on a helmet with a flashlight attached to the brim. Across one shoulder I had a sturdy rope with a hook on the end. I prayed no one would see me. I looked ridiculous. I mean, I don't have the body for adventure gear. Plus, I am a professional mouse. I like my suits and ties. At last, we were ready. Ready for anything. At 8 o'clock we left. It was dark outside. We looked more like burglars than journalists hunting for the scoop. Pinky took us to the narrow alley at the back of the fish market. She showed us a drain. All the subway entrances have been closed by the police, she said, but we'll get in through this drain. She held up a copy of a map. We just follow this sewer pipe until we hit the number 7 line, she explained. Trap stared at the map. How did you get that? He asked Pinky. I could tell he was impressed. Pinky sniggered. Goof Snout P. Goofus, my friend from school. He made it for me. He is the assistant to the new Mouse City Sewer Control Manager. Suddenly, I realized what Pinky wanted us to do. I absolutely refuse to go into the sewers, I squeaked. I am not a sewer rat. I am a respectable mouse. Trap rolled his eyes at me. Well, I just call that fear, he snorted. F as in, what a fraidy mouse. E as in, enough with the drama. A as in, another silly excuse down the drain. R as in, really, Jermeister? Don't be such a wimp. Then he added, just think about Sally. She may already be down there, stealing your scoop. They removed the grating and went in first. Pinky went next. I groaned. I guess I had no choice. I had to go. I would never hear the end of it if Sally got the story. I followed Pinky's fading light. Trap insisted that he would go down last. I want to make sure that Mr. Fraidy Mouse here doesn't scamper off, he said. It wouldn't surprise me. Even as a young mouselet, he was always running away from something. I started to argue, but Thea stopped us. Shh, she squeaked. Shut your snouts and get going. Cat, 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 cat. It was dark under the streets. We climbed down an iron ladder, one paw step at a time. It was slippery, very slippery. I was glad to be wearing those ugly rubber boots. So what if I was a fashion victim? At least I wouldn't break my tail. The cold seeped through my fur. I sneezed. Achoo! 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 I knew it. I've already caught a cold, I moaned. Trap snickered. Poor Jerrykins has caught a coldykins, he squeaked in a high-pitched voice. I would have yelled back, but I was too scared. Did I mention I'm afraid of heights? Down, down, down we climbed. Would this tunnel never end? That's it, Thea said at last. I rested my paws on the ground. What a relief. If only I could head home now. Instead, I looked around. We were on a very slippery, narrow pavement. A canal full of smelly sewage flowed to our left. Just then, Trap pointed to a spot behind me. Geronimo, there's a cat behind you, he cried, and I shrieked in terror. Tricked you, chuckled my cousin. I chewed my whiskers, fuming. Trap just snickered. Lighten up, Jerry Berry, he advised, and he began dancing around me in a circle. Put your paw in the air like you just don't care. Kick your feet up and dance to the beat, he sang. I started to relax. Maybe Trap was right. Maybe I needed to stop worrying about everything. Maybe there really wasn't a phantom cat in the subway. Maybe it was just a silly story. Yes, that was probably it. A silly story made up by some bored mouse with lots of time on his paws. Just then, Trap leaned over and shrieked in my ear, Meow! I nearly jumped right out of my wetsuit. Why, oh why, was my cousin so annoying? Cat doo-doo. Thea was busy studying Pinky's map. It looks like we have almost reached the end of this pipe. That means we should be crossing the number 7 line soon, she said. Then we're off to Singing Stone Plaza, the beginning of the line. We marched along slowly in the dark. Our flashlights made ghostly shadows on the walls. Suddenly, I slipped on a dark spot. "Got to watch out for that cat doo-doo, Cousinkins," Trap joked, and I shuddered. The liquid flowing in the canal gave off a horrible stench. "It really smells like cat doo-doo, doesn't it, Geronimo?" my cousin chuckled. I ordered myself to stay calm. "Please do not say that word again," I begged. Trap snickered. "What word, Jerrykins?" he giggled. When I didn't answer, he screeched, "What's wrong? Has the cat got your tongue?" I shuddered again. "Come on, let the cat out of the bag, Geronimoid," my cousin shrieked. Then he stuck his snout up to mine. "Gee, you look beat, Jerrykins. Maybe you should take a little cat nap?" Finally, I snapped. "Enough!" I squeaked at the top of my lungs. "Enough!" My cousin looked shocked. You see, I'm usually a pretty mild-mannered mouse. I don't like to make a big squeak about things. Still, even I have my limits. I mean, I'm a rodent, not a robot. I have feelings too. I was sick of Trap teasing me. It was time for me to put my paw down. Yes, this was the moment of truth, the moment I had been waiting for since I was a young mouselet. I would finally put my cousin in his place. I cleared my throat. Then I gulped. 2 enormous yellow eyes had appeared out of nowhere. They glowed in the inky blackness. They were staring right at us. I let out a shriek of utter terror. "Help! It's the Phantom Cat!" I cried. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, the cat was gone. How odd. Still, I heaved a sigh of relief. Seconds later, Trap was up to his old tricks. 3 times he pointed to a spot over my shoulder. "Geronimo, a cat!" he cried, but he was only teasing. We trudged on. Trap tried to trick me again, but I wasn't falling for it. When he yelled cat, I brushed him off. But this time, he had a strange look on his face. My heart leaped into my throat. Slowly, I turned around. Behind me loomed the shadow of a monstrous cat. Its claws shot out, reaching for us. Was this it? Was this how my life would end? Was I about to become just another dead rodent clogging up the drain? "Goodbye, mouse friends," I sobbed. Like a sewer rat. Just then the shadow disappeared. No one moved. We were frozen with fear. Finally, we hid around a corner. Thea gave us half an hour's rest to pull ourselves together. Trap immediately began searching through his backpack. "This calls for some serious munching," he squeaked. Out of the bag came a cheddar pie, a bag of nachos, and a jar of mozzarella balls. This was followed by 3 large rolls, a pineapple cheesecake, and a box of mint jelly candies. My cousin opened a thermos and chugged down the contents. "Gotta love that pickled pepper tea," he spluttered, smacking his lips. He finished with some onion-flavored chewing gum. "It freshens the breath," he explained. Then he massaged his stomach and let out a loud "burp." I know what you were thinking. How could such a sophisticated, civilized mouse like me be related to such an obnoxious, disgusting mouse? I've asked myself the same question many times. Unfortunately, I've not figured it out yet. Trap is definitely one of a kind. I was still thinking about my annoying relative when Thea's voice broke into my thoughts. "Okay, this is it," she announced. "See that tunnel over there? That's where the number 7 line begins. But we'll have to cross the sewage canal to get there." I stared at the canal. It was so dark. It was so smelly. I can't do it, I decided. Sorry, Thea, but I just can't cross over that sewage. My sister didn't blink an eye. In fact, she was already on her way. Suit yourself, she said over her shoulder. I ran after her. Wait, I shrieked. You can't just leave me here all alone. Thea put her paws on her hips. Well then, come on, Fraidy Mouse, she snorted. I haven't got all day. Move your tail, or I'll tie it up in a knot. What could I do? I followed with my tail between my paws. I was still scared, but at least I wasn't alone. Thea threw a rope across the canal. The metal hook on the end of the rope grabbed the ladder on the opposite side of the sewer. We crossed the canal, hanging from the rope. Luckily, it wasn't very deep. The stinking liquid barely reached our snouts. Still, the smell was enough to make any rodent lose his lunch. Ugh! I was glad that I had only eaten 3 cheese balls. At last we made it to the other side. We had reached the number 7 line.